Hi, everybody. Welcome to Toolkit Tuesday. I can't believe we're already in the middle of February. Time's flying, but I wanted to take the opportunity today to talk about associations and the event planning world as it relates to associations. And I've had the privilege and the honor of being in and around associations for almost 30 years. I've been members of my own trade association. I've been served on board of directors. I have been a contracted event planner for state, regional, and national associations. And so it's been quite interesting to learn about those as an organization and as an event client. I really believe that associations exist for three primary reasons, and in my perspective, to educate, keep a trade industry up on the latest and greatest trends in education in relative to that association. So education, networking to connect both peer-to-peer people that are in the same business, and as well as connecting associations running off of non-dues membership fees around those who sell to that trade. So anybody, my theory is where more than one are gathered, people will pay to be there as a sponsor, and to really take a particular trade and have a marketplace, either at a live event or virtual events, to bring together 300 lawyers. You're going to have those who sell goods and services to lawyers that want to participate in some sort of gathering, to have a marketplace with those particular industry professionals. And then the third piece is advocacy. In my mind, as a professional event planner, I look to my trade associations to be looking out for legislation that's happening that relates to our industry, both good and bad legislation. And I see our association as the voice of the collective membership. As a 7-Eleven owner, I'm not necessarily going to keep up on every bill that comes along in the legislation that impacts my sign out front. I pay my dues, and I count on my association to keep their ear to the ground about that. And then when they need to activate me as a member to share my voice of an owner of 20 7-Elevens, we get engaged in legislative advocacy. So education, networking, and advocacy. And we had the privilege of working with a lot of associations and moving their events to virtual. And we certainly have been able to continue to educate association members. We have been able to provide, accredited continuing education credits for those who want to join the virtual event and participate and stay up to date on the latest information, as well as earning their necessary, credentials to continue to stay active in that trade and up to date on the latest information. So that's been an easy transition, the educational part. And then I want to talk about advocacy. So we had the privilege this past week of working with the state association and conducting 150 legislative meetings with members and legislators to talk about their initiatives. And it's really interesting to watch how that's happened. We did that live for many years. Our association clients would go down to Olympia, Washington, our capital, gather in the morning, be briefed on the initiatives and the legislation they were concerned about, and then they would head out to meetings, physically walk into offices throughout the day to meet with their representatives and their senators. And we had the opportunity now this year to do that virtually. And so the legislators have gotten on board and accustomed to meeting virtually with their constituents. So we worked with an association to schedule 15-minute meetings with our members that matched their legislators. We armed them with packets of information about the latest bills that are coming in that impact them. And then we, as an event team, were there to make sure that all of these meetings were launched and conducted. And one of the things we had to keep in mind is, what if a legislator didn't show? We had members that were tuned in on our Zoom calls and we had no legislator. We'd have to kind of facilitate that conversation of, hey, we've sent the information to your legislator, please follow up by email. Or if we had a legislator that took the time and all of a sudden we had members that didn't make it to the Zoom call, our team was, we had done a planning scenario with no shows, and we created a script of, we're sorry our members weren't able to join on the scheduled time. Please, we are resending the legislative packet that relates to your constituents, and let's try to get this rescheduled. So the logistics of trying to do a day on the Hill, day at the Capitol, legislative advocacy day for a trade association, it's been challenging, but also a silver lining in that there's a lot of people that couldn't drive all the ways from the eastern part of the state all the ways to the Capitol to go from office to office. It was easy for them to jump on a Zoom call for 15 minutes and have their voice heard. So having come out of the last month, done several advocacy days, I just want to share with associations that it can be done. It's efficient. Virtual meetings with your representatives and senators are effective. And the coordination that goes into it to make it all happen was a heavy lift, but well worth it. So the last piece of this is the networking, the connecting, the trade, the people in the industry. You know, it's interesting. Back in the day, again, 30 years, I used to go to association meetings as a member of an association, and we would have, 3 full days, a day of golf tournament. We'd have a big trade show area. We would have a heavy duty steak at lunch, and we would do an awards program one night for recognition of the members. It was quite, a traditional structure of a conference. And then I remember being at a meeting with a young filmmaker, and I said to him, what do you do for your annual gathering of your trade, of the other filmmakers here in the state? And he said, we usually get a free venue that wants to show it off for potentially making films. So we got a free hangar, airport hangar this year. We called some taco trucks, and we just got on social media and told all the filmmakers to gather there for like half a day. So the model of this 3-day with a golf tournament, with a, awards dinner, really was morphing with generationally anyways about the need to meet. And now we've got these virtual meetings that people are having. And the networking is really critical. I was in a golf tournament, and I remember talking to a builder, and he was sharing with me that he had played golf the previous year with someone, who did bridge permits, and they spent 5 hours together and got to know each other. And whenever he had an issue or he had a question, he was able to call this gentleman directly because they had shared 5 hours on the golf course, and he was able to get, assistance. And that networking of people in your industry, it's so crucial. It's changed again because of the millennials, the way they want to make a connection. But I don't believe virtually we've made a really good transition into offering that networking component. We did 50 digital events last year. A lot of them were associations. And yes, there was the opportunity to say, oh, there's Jane. I see her in the chat. I've missed seeing Jane. I see her at the annual conference. I would send her a direct message. We could maybe do a video meeting and catch up. So there's functionality, but we haven't really replaced that secret sauce of connection in the networking space. There are some really cool things coming out. There's some platforms, Remo, which I have not tried myself, but I've heard great things. Twine, that has been recommended recently, of a way to do a cool networking event as part of an association gathering. So I'm open to comments and feedback. If you guys have a proven, excellent networking function specifically for association members to connect during a conference, that would be great. I find that device fatigue is real, and people might pop in to get their credit for an hour or two, but then they don't want to hang around for a cocktail reception virtually, when they would have easily done that if they were over in a retreat location and spending 3 days kind of immersing themselves with their peers. So just today's Toolkit Tuesday, really want to share my thoughts on associations. I'm a big fan. I am active in my trade associations professionally myself, but also we've really enjoyed working with volunteer leaders inside of an association committee, volunteer committee members that take time out of their day job to plan a conference and be the subject matter experts and create great programming, and then work with them to bring it either live or now bring it into the digital space and see how we continue to educate, how we can do advocacy events, and continue to work on that networking piece so that we connect our industry peers. So thank you very much for joining. We'll look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday.